What's going on, everybody? Today I am, since I'm changing heads on the big kit back here, the big kit being the 24-inch bass drum, 13, 16, 18-inch toms. Need to change the heads on them. So I figured I would make a little video while I change the heads and just talk about tuning. One thing that I notice a lot of, especially online, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, is drums sound boxy, and they're not meant to sound boxy. If you don't tighten the head up to get some sort of tone out of the drum, it's just not gonna resonate like it should. So what I'm doing here is I'm gonna show you my tuning, the way that I do things. So I'm loosening up this bottom head so we can start there, and hopefully you'll be able to see some of what I have going on here. Now what I have on the mic is just a Rode shotgun mic, so hopefully you'll get a nice live type of feel from this. So always tune one head at a time, don't try to tune both of them. So one thing that I do where I start with a loose head, putting it on, I will hold my finger in the middle. And now let me preface this by I got this from a drum tech for Yamaha drums. He tunes all their showroom stuff. But anyway, puts the head on and you just finger tighten all the lugs. Like so. Get them all down as tight as you can. Fingers. From there, press in the center of the head. And look around, and hopefully you can see that there's wrinkles around the head here. So you can use the light. So I got a couple of lights sitting here on everything. You use that. And you start tightening, basically you tighten the wrinkles out of it. So right here you can also hear that it's still wrinkled. And you know, use your light that you have. So right there, all the wrinkles are out of it. The next thing, you can press a little harder and see if there's anything anywhere. There's a little bit right here, and I'm pressing down just a little bit harder. Tighten that up. I listen for wrinkles here. Now I'm actually listening to the tone. From that point, you know, that gives you a good place to start. Now from there, I would suggest using a drumstick. But you want that drum to ring. And again, tightening one head at a time, just the top head. The bottom, or actually this is the bottom head, the top head is muted. So I'm only tuning one head. You don't want to tune both heads at the same time. You're not going to get a true pitch. Then you find this right-handed. And I have a tendency to tune a bit higher. I definitely tune my bottom head higher. It's pretty tightened up. It's a little low. It's close, not exact, but I'll come back to that one. So from there, now I go to the top. And I am using coated heads. I pretty much always use coated heads. I'm going from a coated Emperor to a coated Remo Ambassador X. I really like ambassadors, or coated ambassadors, and I really like the coated vintage ambassador. This is kind of the best of both worlds. It's a single ply head, but it's 12 mil versus a 2-ply Emperor, which would be 14 mil. So 12 mil. The Ambassador is a 10 mil. The vintage Ambassador is 2 plies, a 10 mil and a, no, actually it is a 7 and a 3 mil head. So let's get this off of here. Okay, so there's that. That is taken off. So now I can take this hoop off, switch the heads out. Every time I do this, I will run my hand along the bearing edge, make sure I don't feel anything weird. That looks good. I don't see any trash or anything. And one little caveat to all of this. The hoop, where it says Gretsch, and the badge, and the logo all have to match. They have to. If they don't line up perfectly, I'll redo the head. But that's just me. So now I got my logo lined up with the badge. The badge is right over here. Name on the hoop is lined up with that. I'll get these back on. The rims mounts are something to kind of deal with sometimes. I have not fully made up my mind to take them off yet, or not take them off. I do like mounting my rack toms. So the only way to really do it without a snare stand is to keep. And I will use 2 keys up to a point, as it does just kind of make all this go a little bit easier and quicker. It's a little harder with the rims mounts to get the lugs around the rims mount to that finger tight, but you can still get a pretty good idea. You can feel it with the keys as well. Once you do it several times, you'll kind of know, you'll be able to feel where the finger tight comes on or comes around. That one's not even in the lug. See, I can kind of, at this point, changing heads and doing this for as long as I have, I can kind of feel where everything is at. So, to me, no, that's not where to start. Some would tighten that up to just to get a tone out of it and leave it. And to me, that's going to sound like a box. They do the same thing to the bottom head. I don't believe boxes or drums should sound like boxes. A lot of my drum sound, at least in here in this room, comes from my overhead mics. So I like to kind of think of the drum set as a whole versus just individual drums. So using the overheads as most of my sound, I want the drum set to sound like it belongs together. Now, I don't get really nerdy and tune to a note or anything like that. If you want to check out something like that, check out Mike Dawson from Drum Factory Direct. He's really good at tuning. He really gets nerdy about things. He'll tune the top and bottom head to certain pitches and then work with it. If you want to go that route, he'd be the guy to check out. Dave Weckl as well. I just kind of get them in a good spot where I like what they sound like and get into ranges and stuff. So from here, now you won't see the wrinkles around the head on a coated head quite like you will on a clear head, obviously. But you can hear it. So now I'm going to press down. I can see the wrinkles here. And if you hear that, that's a wrinkled head. So I'm just going to press and I'll tune that wrinkle out of it. You can, if you get at a good angle, you can see when that wrinkle comes out. The light's just right. Today my light isn't just right. You can also feel it come out. And there will come a point that you'll be able to tell where it is just by what the tension rod feels like. Oh yeah, see that needs to... See this, now I'm looking at the logo here and pulling that wrinkle out. And see now, that's a good place to start. As you can hear, bottom is a lot higher, and I like the bottom a lot higher. So now, if you do both heads the same way, tune them, just get the wrinkles out of them, that will be a great starting point to actually start tuning whether or not you're going up or down. So now, I'm just going to listen for each one of these to kind of come up with a tone. Not a bad place to start right there. That's a bit high. I'm going to go up to that one. That will be kind of low for me. And you can hear. But that is a good starting point. Here, I will take it up a little bit higher. And then I'm going to go around and grab my floor toms and I will do those the exact same way. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. I'll be happy to answer anything you've got. This is probably the last time I'll say this. Hit the subscribe, like button, all that kind of stuff. At this point, all of you guys know to do that if you like the video. Anyway, there you go. That's how I tune drums. Like I said, I'm going to add to this once I get done what the whole kit sounds like, just overheads and bass drum mics. It's going to be 3 mics. Maybe just room mic and overheads. I'm not sure just yet, but that'll be shown in the video as well. But that's how I tune. I tune the kit as a kit, not individual drums. If I hear something that just, it sounds like that has no tone to it, I want the drum to sound like a drum. My bass drum, both heads are full. I do not have a hole in the resonant head of my bass drum. There's a mic inside it. mic externally and internally. Generally the mic inside, which is a Beta 52, is for live situations, and I will use it sometimes just for a little bit of that attack if I need it on a recording. Generally, I use the outside AKG D112 and the Solomon low frequency mic for anything else. And then some room mics and stuff like that. But that's what I do. I hope you enjoy it. Take a listen to the kit. Okay, so we're gonna get to changing these heads. Take these microphones off. Yeah, I know you see microphones on the drums. They're only in use when I'm recording. So slide this one back. So when I change these heads, I do use 2 keys to get them off, and then I'll use 2 keys to get them quickly back on, and then it's all hand tight, and then using the system I just talked about. So I'm gonna get these done. Check it out. So right here, I've got this on finger tight. So what I'm gonna do is flip it over, and this isn't really ideal, but it is just a quick check, just to check. Everything down there is pretty good. I use currently clear ambassadors on the bottoms. I sometimes switch between the clear ambassadors and coated ambassadors. So now I'm going to get this thing tightened up. When I do that, when I'm running around and checking those, I'm not looking for the initial attack. I'm listening for the note that comes after it and how well that flows or just rings out. So again, that's a good starting point there. I will check them. Good starting point. So now we're going to hit the bass drum, then we'll get these things recorded. So now we move on to the bass drum. Today I'm going to go back with the coated Power Stroke 3 on this bass drum. I've got some things coming up that is warranting that decision, but I switched this around from an Ambassador X with a felt strip, an coated Emperor with a felt strip. What else did I put on there? I put the Power Stroke 3 felt tone on it as well. It just really depends on what I'm after on that particular time. But right now it is the P3. When I met my Remo rep at PASIC in 2017. I told him that the Power Stroke 3 coated was the best head ever made. And he said, no, it's not. And I felt bad when he said that. However, he said the Black Dot, Power Stroke 3 Black Dot, excuse me, was the best bass drum head ever made. I told him I hadn't tried that one yet. And then, when I signed on with him later that year, I tried the Black Dot, and he's right. That is a fantastic bass drum head. Steve Smith, I think, had something to do with the design of that. Yeah, that's a good head. Here is a little glimpse inside this bass drum. What I have on the front is a fiber skin felt tone, as you see by the felt strip right there. But there's my Kelly shoe, Beta 52. I got this great sorter job in there. You know what? It works. I'm using a Morigami mic cable. Everybody, if you were going to do this, needs a table. I generally do all of my tuning with floor toms and bass drum off of that table. Today was just a quick one. Like I was just saying, I generally, if I'm doing my floor toms, if I'm doing top and bottom head, I'll do it on this stand as well. Even on the bass drum, the Remo logo has to go to the top. It has to match up, or else I will not play the drum. That's not good. So one thing that I'll do is I'll dust my rims, my hoops, excuse me, and I'll try to wipe the drum down. You know, give it a little wipe down. Got one of these little Swiffer things in here. I generally try to wipe down all the drums in here once a month at least. On the 24-inch bass drum, you got two seams, right here and right here. I try to put those where they'll be covered up. Doesn't always work. I will do this head the exact same way as I do the others. Get it down to a finger tight. Having this little stand here makes it a lot easier. So got it down to finger tight. And this I'll actually bring up a little bit. What I used to do was I would take it just above wrinkle. I wanted a lot more tack at that time. So now I do a little bit different. And being that I have that mic on the inside, I don't need quite the slack in this as what I did before to get the tack. These, right now, I'm just judging off of feel, making sure that they all feel pretty much the same way. And from there, on the bass drum, I will not use a key, but I'll use a mallet. let's do the same thing here. Get the wrinkles out. So yeah, use a mallet. Listen for that nice tone. There we go. I like my bass drum to have a bass note. So let's give it a little try here. That needs to come up. If I don't have any gigs that require this drum set, it sits in the studio. So I sometimes forget to tweak up on the heads. There we go. Bring that up just a little bit. And again, yes, I'm doing these all by feel. A little higher on the front. I like that. Let's get it back on the kit, get it mic'd back up, see what they sound like. I've got all the heads changed, and yes, there's something else changed with the kit. I've added some stuff. Never mind the cymbals and the splashes and that kind of thing. That is for something different. One of the reasons why I was changing the heads. So anyway, again, I'm only using the AKG D112 on the bass drum, and I'm using the two Advanced Audio CM 47 FETs as overheads. Spaced pair, so I have it where there should be a pretty good spread on everything, but it's just those three mics. So here's what they will sound like after changing heads, and I would actually maybe tune them up a little bit higher, especially the 13. I might bring it up a little bit more, but the 16 and the 18 are a little high, and some people may think that they're a little bit too ringy, but when you put them in the context of the overheads and then do some close micings and that kind of thing, it's not quite so much. But if you wanted to, you could tune them down. They sound good at a lower note. They sound good at a higher note. I'm just in a thing where I'm kind of tuning a little bit more like John Bonham or Alex Van Halen, something like that on the bigger drums. The big old school jazz guys, Buddy Rich, Louis Bellson, Gene Krupa, all those guys tuned up pretty high. So that's kind of what I'm doing here, but these are Ambassador X from Remo. 13, 16, and 18. So here we go, give them a check. So there you have it. Ambassador X, coated Ambassador X from Remo. I am very happy to be an artist for Remo. I've played their heads pretty much my entire career playing drums. So I've been real happy with Remo heads. So one final thought with head choice and tuning. Always base your choices off of what it is that you're doing. If you're doing a heavy rock thing, you'll probably want to go with thicker heads. If you're doing something a little lighter, you're going to want to go with a thinner head. On my bop kit, which is 12, 14, 16, 18, I have the vintage Ambassadors coated, and I have them tuned up really high for that kit. You just saw what I do for the big kit. But everything is based off of what it is that you're doing. What does the music call for? If I need to do something on this big kit that's more of a rock thing, I will absolutely tune it differently, and I will have a different head choice. The other thing is tuning is subjective. It's going to be what it is that you want your drums to sound like. What I've done in this video is just give some pointers and some ideas of how I do things, so you guys can take that and turn a lug, hit the head, see what it sounds like. That's the best way to find what your best tuning is and what it is that you like the most. Just be sure that the drum is in tune with itself. The only thing that I would say to kind of stay away from is not turning a lug. If you just turn it to where the lug stops, and you just kind of tap it or something like that, you're not going to get much of a tone out of the heads. The heads working in tandem with the shell is what gives you your drum sound. If you're not tensioning the top and bottom head enough to even get the air moving or have the air move those heads, your drum's going to sound like a box. And if you've paid a lot of money for a drum set, you don't want it to sound like a box. So all in all, I hope you guys got something out of this video. Turn a lug. Just tune it up, see what it sounds like. Tune it down, see what it sounds like. If the bottom head is up higher than the top head, like mine are, you get a pitch bend down. If it's opposite that, you get a pitch bend up. Turn your lugs, find a nice sound, and happy drumming.